All right, today we are going to be talking about my favorite president, George Washington. So, first, I want to watch a little video for us to get caught up so that we can answer these questions as well.
The story of George Washington. Every February 22nd, we remember the birthday of George Washington. We call him the father of our country. George Washington was born on a farm in Virginia in 1732.
So, that answers our first two questions. When was he born and where was he born? He was born on February 22nd, 1732, and he was born on a farm in Virginia.
There is a story that young George chopped down a cherry tree. He said to his father, "I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down your cherry tree." George liked math and numbers. He became a surveyor. He measured farms and marked off roads. George also was a farmer. He had 5 farms. Each day he visited his farms. During the Revolutionary War, George was the leader of America's army.
So that answers our third question. Which war was George Washington general in? He was general in the Revolutionary War, or later, whichever you want to call.
He won the war at Yorktown, Virginia. After the war, George and other men wrote the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution formed our country. George Washington was elected the first president of the United States. His wife Martha was the first lady. George was a good president for 8 years. Then George said, "I'm tired. I want to go home." George and Martha went home to Mount Vernon. They lived there for the rest of their lives. To honor George Washington, the capital of the United States is named Washington, D.C. The Washington Monument is a tribute to him. His face is on our quarters and $1 bills. George Washington was first in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen.
Choose what kind of video you want to see.
All right. We've already watched the video now. So now I want to show you some more facts about George Washington. And I'm sorry if my video went away. So, he was really strict on the time, like the dates. And when George Washington was born, the Virginia colonies used the old-style Julian calendar, and the colonies later adopted the current new-style Gregorian calendar that we still use today. The switch resulted in dates being moved back 11 days. Washington preferred the original 2 through 22, and his birthday is still celebrated on that date. He didn't actually get college education. He's only a scholar in name. And his false teeth weren't actually made from real wood. They were made using a combination of gold, ivory, carved animal bone, and human teeth. And one last one that I want to show you. Oh, and by the way, here's a statue of George Washington. He actually did not cut down the cherry tree. It's one of the myths associated with Washington that he chopped down the cherry tree. It traces back to a biography written shortly after his death. The book's author, Parson Weems, told several tall tales. True or not, the story of the cherry tree has led to the tradition of celebrating Washington's birth with cherry pie instead of cake. So, I want to share with you a picture of George Washington. And since he was the first president of the USA, they didn't actually have phones or cameras to take pictures. They just painted this one. Alright, now that we've gone over everything once, I want to review. So, let's go over these questions again. So, George Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732. And he was born in Virginia on a farm. And which war was George Washington general in? He was general in the Revolutionary War. And I'm going to go over these facts again. So, he preferred the old style Julian calendar rather than the new style Gregorian calendar. And he's only a scholar in name. And his teeth weren't actually made from wood. And last but not least is he did not chop down the cherry tree. So here's the picture again. And then now that we've gone over everything twice, I think you're good to go.